The Redmi Note series are going premium, and 12 Pro Plus might have all that it takes to disrupt the smartphone market, or not. So let's inspect. Okay, first of all, naming a device like this, I believe is kind of crazy and vendors should stop doing it. And I know iPhones kind of go and follow the same trend as well, but come on, Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus? It's too long and not practical. But on the other side, this promises to be one of the flagship killer wannabes of 2023 because of the 200 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, the crazy fast 120-watt charging, the brand new AMOLED panel with HDR10 Plus support, and again 120Hz refresh rate, and the chipset which keeps it cool most of the time. I guess there's plenty to inspect, and I admit, yes, the price tag is definitely going higher, and it's kind of Pixel 6 and 7 territory, so interesting to see how this performs in real life. It's been a while since we've seen such a premium mid-ranger by Xiaomi. Fact is that Redmi Note 10 Pro has been a superb deal, while Redmi Note 11 Pro has been rather disappointing because in many ways it's downgraded both performance and camera features. Thing is that this year, Redmi will push globally two different versions of the Note 12 series, the basic one, which I'm gonna show in another review, and the more premium-oriented called the Pro Plus. It just launched at close to 50% higher price than the 11 Pro, but my opinion is that both are quite different, and 12 Pro Plus seems to be in its own league. Therefore, we carry on our inspection with the unboxing. Redmi do not disappoint here. Yes, it is the regular pack that we find with almost all Xiaomi-made devices in the past few years, and yes, they once again give us a basic, boring, transparent protective case, but hey, in times when others cut even the chargers with the excuse that they're being nature-friendly, Redmi stick to their good traditions. Here's the phone, and mine is the Polar White edition. It somehow feels weird to hold this kind of color in the hand. Probably the plain white phones lately are too few. One can say this here is big, and this is exactly how the Note series should be. And hey, we also have a Type-C cable in the 120-watt GAN charger. There's something interesting to note. This looks like a new variation of the iconic charger, which is slightly smaller than last year's model featured with Xiaomi 12 and 12T series. So from everything that we've seen so far, not a single thing to criticize. In terms of design, we can see the speaker cuts at the bottom. This is the microphone area, the SIM tray, and also a Type-C port. I'm about to surprise you now, it's the first Redmi that I test and doesn't have expandable storage. But even the basic edition comes with 128 gigs of flash, so I guess problem solved out of the box. The volume buttons and the power button are on the side, and yeah, the fingerprint scanner, which is integrated inside the power button indeed, works just fine. There also is a 3.5mm audio jack, there's infrared blaster, and yet another speaker on top. In terms of specifications, the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus has a MediaTek Dimensity 1080 inside, it runs an octa-core CPU, there are choices for 6, 8 or 12 GB of RAM, storage options are up to 256 gigs, triple camera system with the amazing 200 megapixel main sensor, an OLED display protected by Gorilla Glass 5, 5000 mAh battery with the monstrous 120-watt charging. At the launch, it's already running Android 13 and the weight of the phone is 208 grams. That's a big smile because these specifications sound brilliant. Obviously, we have a serious upgrade of the camera compartment, 200 megapixel camera, and yes, 4K video recording is back as it should be for the Redmi Note Pro line, and it's being missing last year, that's why I'm mentioning it. Also, I think that's the first Redmi Note product with optical image stabilization, and the OIS contributes significantly to the better video recordings. And also, this is the mid-ranger with the quickest charging speeds, providing up to 120 watts of charging. It means that from 0 to 100% is going to be around 20 minutes. 20 minutes for a full recharge. And there's plenty that we might want to test further. Let's carry on with some benchmarks and real-life performance situations. I had to show you this because it's the best flat performance line that I've seen in the past months. The fact that there are no notable drops in performance means that the processor doesn't throttle, meaning that you can play games for long periods of time and this wouldn't have any negative impact. Also, this is the coolest smartphone in terms of thermal characteristics, because even after 15 minutes at 100% CPU load, it doesn't even get warm. MediaTek are being great about this lately, and it truly puts to shame the horrible Snapdragon from last year's edition. No, it is not a high-end system on a chip, but definitely good enough to provide excellent performance for daily tasks and to guarantee flawless, buttery-smooth running of the operating system. Browsing feels great, social media apps run without stuttering, it's all close to perfection. Same with the gaming, you're probably going to notice close to zero difference between gameplay on a flagship device as compared to Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. Some games are limited to only 60 Hz, unfortunately, and even if you try to force the phone to keep the maximum refresh rate, this wouldn't make any difference. You're going to have some good time while playing. This is not officially a gaming phone, and we know that many games are better optimized for Snapdragon chipsets, but given the good display and the speaker quality, this is a pretty solid experience. In a matter of fact, this display is quite special. It belongs to the POLED type. It's something that is done out of more reliable, flexible materials, and we had POLED implementations already with the Mi Mix Fold line. So this is the first Redmi Note with that type of OLED display. It has Dolby Vision, it has HDR10 Plus certification, both of which are not very typical for mid-rangers. We could expect them more with high-end smartphones, and this display feels like a high-end one. Redmi are quite generous about letting you customize the colors as well. Choices between vivid, saturated, standard and advanced, plus the refresh rate customization and the dedicated reading mode. Cameras. Should we talk about them? Because the topic is fairly interesting. As a starter, I'm beginning with the macro camera, the thing that nobody cares about because that's a 2-megapixel module, and honestly, I would avoid using such. Probably Redmi had too many of those and were wondering what to do, but it's, in my opinion, a waste of space because you can use zoom on the main camera and still produce some very good detailed macro-like photos. There also is an ultra-wide camera, which is this one, 8 megapixels. For daytime photography, it's great. In low light, quality is questionable, and that's very typical for ultra-wide shooters. But really, the best out of the stack, the 200 megapixel Samsung-made image sensor, which is remarkable, doesn't matter bright or low light conditions. Yes, it is very similar to the S23 Ultra, but it's not the exactly same image sensor. It's a bit smaller, still very capable, and it uses pixel binning technology, meaning that it combines the qualities out of a few smaller pixels and extracts the best out of the information into one bigger, which converts into pretty decent low light performance. If you switch to the 200 megapixel mode, you can crop and crop and crop, and it's still gonna be crystal clear. Furthermore, each of these photos gets a special mark, and you can use a new feature called Pro Cut, which crops people, animals, and other areas of interest, providing a few samples that you could export. It's very helpful for social media posts. If you take photos in daytime, they look superb. Since the image sensor is fairly large, combined with a wide aperture, even the hardware-based bokeh looks brilliant, but of course you could use the portrait mode, where it's gonna add some more software optimizations. When it's dark, it's also pretty good experience. The night mode is surprisingly capable. You know that these days most smartphones use software algorithms in order to extract the light out of a few photos and generate a bit more pleasing to the eye image. In that regard, I'm truly happy with the software optimizations in this Redmi phone. Furthermore, I tend to like the portrait mode here better as opposed to Xiaomi 13 because it relies on the main image sensor, which has fantastic characteristics. Traditionally, for the MIUI camera app, there are a whole lot of creative modes and very capable professional mode section where not only photos but also videos can be recorded in a more professional way with adjustments of the aperture, the shutter speed and ISO, something that even Google Pixel series currently do not support. Speaking of comparisons, here's a look at the optical image stabilization effectiveness, just showing that OIS is not equally good on each device supporting such. And I'm so happy to see the return of 4K video recording. It's a must-have when smartphones are equipped with a high-end image sensor. Quick audio test with the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, I was about to say Ultra. That's the front camera in a vlogging scenario. Very noisy environment, but no wind today. And the point is to figure out how good or bad the microphone is and whether the front camera capabilities are any good. If you wonder about the remaining characteristics, the iconic 120-watt charging, which is quicker even than Xiaomi 13's default one, there's the multifunctional remote integration thanks to the availability of the infrared blaster. Redmi even keep the 3.5mm jack. I personally haven't used such on a phone in the past years, but I know a lot of friends who value such an option. The next thing to talk about is software. This here is MIUI 14, which is running on Android 13. And many people say that the Redmi line has bloatware. I think we can all agree that there is such. Obviously, some apps are pre-installed, like the AliExpress app, the Amazon Shopping app, and even Netflix as an app is pre-installed, which by the way means that there is Wi-Fi L1 certification. But if you like stock Android, this definitely might annoy you despite the way more customizations than usual. There's the themes engine though, so you can change the icon pack, the overall look and feeling, you can change the way the recent apps are being grouped, you can switch between gestures, a navigation bar, it's fluid, it's stable, and I'm happy to say that I didn't discover significant bugs or issues with it. To me, it feels a lot more stable than the initial build of Xiaomi 13, and here I feel that the early release in China has helped Xiaomi to polish everything and optimize it for the global launch. Redmi Note series are entitled to receive at least 3 major Android enhancements, plus the regular security patches, so this is going to remain relevant in terms of software for at least 3 more years, and I can see Xiaomi doing their best to further improve and extend the software experience programs. Like each other review that I do about smartphones, there's a special slide to show about the drawbacks. The USB port is a Type-C port, but it's capable of transfers only according to the USB 2 specifications, which is disappointing, but typical for Xiaomi-made smartphones in the past years. The macro camera is rather useless, there is no telephoto sensor, no wireless charging port, there is no option for an eSIM, this feature remains exclusive only for the Xiaomi 13 series thus far. Waterproof rating is just basic, and the launch price is clearly higher than the predecessing generation. But, based on everything that we've said in the past few minutes, I'm really happy to conclude that the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus is back on track with some remarkable specifications, and it has all that it takes in order to be one of the most successful high-end mid-rangers of 2023. Because think about it, 120-watt charging, which tops up the battery within less than 20 minutes. You have a very decent processor, which keeps it cool most of the time, a very good 120Hz refresh rate display, and the 200-megapixel OIS-capable main camera. That's the formula for becoming a flagship killer, and it's the first attempt that we see about that in 2023. So, do you think that the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus can actually be the flagship killer of 2023? Would be interesting to hear about your opinion. Do you like the stack? Do you like the price? Do you believe it's a fair one? I think we have plenty to discuss in the comments down below. As usual, a link to the product, more information how you can support our work here on the channel, you're gonna find in the video description area. My name is Michael, it's been a pleasure to prepare all of that for you, and I guess if you want to see more cool tech inspections, you might want to subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.